who's ready for a story? People just go in the door. Are you ready for a story? Are you all ready for a story?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're ready for a story?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. This is a story, it's got love, it's got pain, it's got emotional stuff, all that kind of things. And it's a story, it's set in Ireland, but it's about a creature called the Gruagach, okay? And the Gruagach is just a Scottish and Irish word, it means hair, okay? So the Gruagach are the people of the hair, get long hair. And the Gruagach originally come from Scotland, and they were very kind of tall and handsome and beautiful. They're like myself, kind of tall, a bit more slender, slightly longer hair. And they were very kind of stoic. They were magical people, but they were kind of, what they would do is they'd get up at a set time in the morning, 6 o'clock they'd get up, and they would have their breakfast. And then they'd go and work in the fields, and then they'd have their lunch, and then they'd go to bed at 8 o'clock, and that was it. That's what they would do. They were very and they didn't drink, okay? They didn't fornicate, okay? They didn't tax dodging or anything. They were just doing their thing, okay? They were quite happy. They were magical. And then a terrible thing happened to the Gruagachs, okay? One day they were all getting ready to start their day's work, and they heard a kind of ha-ha! And ha-ha! And they get shocked, and they looked out, and the Scots had arrived in Scotland, okay? Particularly the ones from Falkirk. They'd arrived, and they were drinking alcohol, and they were fornicating, and they were tax dodging, and they were rustling their cattle and their sheep, and it was shocking. And the poor wee Gruagachs, the tall, handsome Gruagachs, they were like, we have to leave. So they went to the tourist board thing, and they said, we need to go somewhere where people are very hard working, where they're sober, where they don't tax dodge or rustle their sheep or whatever. Where can we go? And the wee person scratched their chin and said, go to Ireland. So they came to Ireland, they came down through Antrim, they might have went by Belfast at some point and kind of went to folk there, and then they came all the way down. And they got to Ireland, and things were grand, and then suddenly, ha-ha! The Irish appeared! And I don't want to cause any fights, but the Irish were as bad, if not worse, than the Scots with the drinking and the tax dodging and the fornicating and the rustling sheep and all this sort of stuff. So the poor wee Gruagachs, tall big Gruagachs, they were so annoyed they called up all their magical power. There's one there. There's a Gruagach. They always arrived just in time. Okay. The Gruagachs, tall, handsome, with the long hair on them, they called up all their power, their magical power. And they shrank, and they shrank, and they shrank. And they became these kind of wee creatures with kind of long hair on them. They looked a bit like, is it Cousin It you get in the Addams Family, the long hair? They kind of looked like that. And they sometimes became known as the brownies. You've heard of the brownies? And the kind of wee folk that would go about and they would help you. You know, if you were cleaning the house or something and you were a bit tired, you maybe get a wee bit of energy in your arms and they'd be then kind of pushing you to kind of sweep up, okay? Or if you were out in the field ploughing, as you do, and you get a bit tired, they'd help pull the horse, whatever. Or if you were, I don't know, Instagramming, or whatever, they'd help polish your eyes and get a bit sore, okay? So they're very, very helpful. However, we've not started the story yet, we're going to start in a minute. However, not all the Gruagachs shrank and became helpful, okay? Some of them remained tall and handsome and beautiful with long hair on them, but they became mean, okay? They became a bit nasty. So this is the story that's going to happen now. It's going to get a bit mean and a bit nasty, alright? So, I'm now starting the story. A long ago, okay? A long time ago, in Ireland, there was a wee old man, and he had a wee old wife, and he had a teenage son, alright? And the wee old man, he was worried that if he died, who would look after his wife? So he thought, I'll teach my son a trade. So he decided to teach his son to fish. He would catch some fish, he'd feed the wife or his mother, and he could sell some fish, and things would be grand. So he took his son all the way down to the beach there, and he was trying to teach his son how to catch fish. So there's the rod, there's the line, there's the hook. And the boy, he was 15, he was like, Dad, hand talk to. Okay, hashtag don't give a shit. And Dad's like, come on boy, you've got to learn this. It's simple, it's simple. It's like, no, I'm listening to Nirvana, Teenage Smell Spirit of Me. Go away, Dad. And it was getting really tense, and the dad was watching kind of like, ah! But he was taking that breath thing, he was doing that kind of father, he's read all the books, he's like, okay, this is good, I'm going fine here. He's trying to teach the son's sticking the hook in his finger, he's bleeding, he's going, Dad, that's your fault. And the poor dad's getting really, really upset. So he takes a breath. And he kind of lets his mind go to the horizon to calm himself down. Good parenting, he's calmed down. He's looking at the horizon now, the water meets the sky, and he's looking at the horizon there. And then he sees something. He sees a wee black dot. And the wee black dot's getting nearer and nearer and nearer. And it's getting nearer and nearer and nearer. And he realises it's a wee rowing boat. And sat in the wee rowing boat is a tall gentleman with a long hair and beautifully dressed. And the strange thing was the gentleman was sat there. There he is again! He sat there, he's looking beautiful. And he sat in his boat. And the boat was rowing itself. And the wee old man thinks this is a bit peculiar. He found the boat, parks itself on the beach, and the tall gentleman steps out. And he looks down at the wee old man and he says, how are you? And the wee old man goes, how's yourself? And the tall person looks at him and says, is that your son there? The old man goes, it is. And the tall handsome gentleman says, ah, I see you're trying to teach him how to fish. And the man says, I am. The tall gentleman says, he's not very good at it, is he? The man says, well, he's just a teenager and he's a bit awkward just now, but he'll get there, I'll keep working at it. And the tall gentleman, he looks down at the old man, and he looks at the boy, he says, I tell you what, why don't you give me your son for a year and a day? I will take your son for a year and a day, and I will make him the wisest boy in the whole of Ireland. The old man is looking at the tall gentleman with the long hair, and he's looking at the boat that rows itself, and he's like, oh, you're a Gruagach. And the tall gentleman says, I am. So the old man, he says to his son, get in the boat, get in the boat. And the son's like, get in the boat! Oh, chill, Dad, okay, I'm in the boat. I'm sitting in the boat. Oh. The tall man gets in the boat as well. And the boat does that magic thing. Oars, I don't know. Does his oars. And it starts to take off, and the tall gentleman sat in the boat, and the boy sat in the boat. And the man cries out, the old man cries out and says, so in a year and a day, you'll bring my son back to me, and he'll be the wisest boy in Ireland. And the tall gentleman looked and went, I am a Gruagach, but you've made a mistake. I am the trickster Gruagach, and you haven't asked me to give my word that I will bring your son back. So I am going to keep him forever, and you'll never, ever see him again. And with that, the boat and the Gruagach and the boy vanished. Is that the end of the story? No. Are you sure? Okay, so the old man's like, oh dear, the wife's going to be a bit annoyed about this. Goes home, the wife is livid, you've lost the boy! It was a man, it was a boat, it was a Gruagach, I forgot to give my word, oh my goodness. She says, go and find them. So the wee old man, he went out and he was going all around the island trying to find his poor son. And one day he sat down, he was feeling awfully sad, he was sat on the road, he was crying, and a wee old woman came up to him. And the wee old woman said, why are you crying? And the old man said, I'm crying because my son has been stolen by the Gruagach and I don't know how to get him back. And the wee old woman said, oh, the same thing happened to me as well. Don't worry about it, I know where the Gruagach lives, I'll draw you a map. So she drew him a map, and the old man said, thank you, I'll go and get my son. So he gets the map, he follows the map, and he comes to the country of the Gruagach, okay? And the Gruagach's a big river there. There's a wee hill, like in a cave at the top. And there's a big mansion by the river. And then behind the mansion is a big forest, alright? So the wee old man goes up and he taps the door. I'm going to do sound effects here, hold on. And the door opens. all beautiful with the long hair on, and looks down and goes, yes? The old man said, I've come for my son. You took my son a month ago. I want my son back. And the Gruagach looks up and goes, oh, I remember you. You're the foolish old man at the beach that let me take his son and forgot to ask me to give my word I'd bring him back. Well, off you go. You're not getting your son back. Off you go. And the old man said, have you no pity? Have you no children of your own? And the Gruagach looked at him and said, do you know what? I do. I have 11 sons of my own. So I do know this is upsetting you. So I tell you what we'll do. We'll make a bit of sport out of it. In this pocket, I have some seeds. And in this pocket, I have a whistle. What I'll do tomorrow is I'll go to the forest behind my house. I'll throw the seeds on the ground, and then I'll blow the whistle. And all the birds of Ireland will come to my house. And of all those birds, there'll be 12 doves. They'll come down and they'll be pecking at the ground. And one of those doves will be your son. All you have to do is pick the right dove, and I'll give you your son back. But if you pick the wrong dove, I'll slit your throat. The man goes, okay, I'll try that. So that night he sleeps in the bank of the river. And he's thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to pick the right dove? And then he remembers. When his son was born, he had a mark under his arm. So he thinks, I just need to find the dove with a mark under its wing, and I'll get my son back. So the next day, he goes back to the house, he chaps the door. The Gruagach opens the door. He's come with me. Goes through the house, out the back door, there's the garden, there's the forest, and he blows a whistle, sky's filled with birds, throws the seeds on the ground, 12 doves come down. And the doves are peck. And the Gruagach says, now, pick the right dove, and you can get your son back. So the old man's looking at them, and the birds are pecking away, and they're kind of doing that with their wings. Not this, they're doing this, okay? And he's looking at them, and he sees one of the doves has a mark under his wing. So he kind of looks at the Gruagach and he says, do you give me your word that if I pick the right dove, the dove that's my son, that you will give him back to me? And the Gruagach just laughs. He's like, of course I'll give him back to you. I give you my word, but you'll never be able to pick him. The old man says, I picked that dove there. And the Gruagach is so angry. How dare you? How dare you? Who told you? How dare you trick me? And the old man went, is that my son? The Gruagach said, it is. And the old man said, you gave me your word. And the Gruagach said, I did. And he bent down, he touched the dove, and the dove turned back into the boy. And the old man said, okay, son, let's get out of here. Took his son's hand. He was walking away, and as he was walking away, the Gruagach called out, you have your son now, but the day will come when I will get my revenge. So the old man went home with his son, and the wife, she was quite happy. Welcome home, son. Hello, ma. And everything was grand, okay? And a week went by. And then there was kind of a horse racing going on. Horse racing. Down the way there. And the boy says to his dad, said, Dad, why don't we go down to the horse racing? Put a bit of money on. And the dad went, we can't do that. First of all, gambling is a sin. Don't be gambling. And secondly, we don't have any money. And the boy looked at his father and said, Father, you do not understand. When the Gruagach changed me into a dove, I learned how to shapeshift. I learned how to wiggle, and turn into anything I want. So you take me down to the horse racing, and I'll wiggle, and I'll turn into a horse. But I'll look like an angry horse. I'll be neighing and all sorts, and folk will say, that horse, I'll never win the race. Put me in, I'll win the race. And when I've won the race, people will want to buy me from you. They'll be calling out, wanting to buy me. Sell me to the highest bidder. But before you hand me over, take the bridle from me. And then when you've sold me, shake the bridle, and I'll come back. Okay? No, man went, okay, horse racing, bridle, shake. Okay, let's do it. So they went down to the horse racing. And the boy, he wiggled, like this. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. And he turned into a horse. Nee, nee. But he was an angry horse. Nee. And he was trying to bite folk. Ah. And he was trying to take other folk. Ah. And he was so angry. And folks said, oh my God, that horse is so angry. It will never win the race. But the old man put the horse in the race. And the next thing, whoop, off it went and it won the race. And everybody was going, oh my God, that's amazing. And folk crowded out, I'll buy your horse. And the old man said, what will you buy the horse for? And somebody said,
10.
10 something, 10 euros. And the old man went, no way, higher, higher, higher.
20.
20 euros. Is that 20 euros or 20,000? 20,000, 20,000. 20,000. Everybody back to 20,000, 20,000, any higher, higher, higher.
50,000.
50,000. That's a fine accent there. 50,000. Higher, higher, higher.
60.
60,000. Higher. Everybody. 60,000. Did I hear a million? Here you go. Throw me the million. Well, we got the million. Went through a big company. Whoop, there you go. But he took the bridle off first. Passed over the horse. And then the crowds went away. He shook the bridle. And the boy reappeared. Ho, 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 da! Wasn't that great fun? And the wee old man's like, that was pretty cool. Oh my goodness, we've now got €1,000,000 and my son's back. This is great, we're now super rich. We went home, they bought a new straw house that they had and a new trough to sleep in. Whatever they did, peasants did those days, they bought new stuff. And it was great. And a week went by. And the boy said, you do know there's a dog racing on. Why don't we do it all again? We've got another bit of sport with the dog racing. No one went, son, we don't need any more money. We've got €1,000,000. It's like we don't need any more. And the boy went, there's room for a bit more sport and a bit more money. Let's go. And I'll do my wiggle, 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 wiggle. And I'll turn into a dog. But oh my goodness, I'll be a sick dog. Folk will think I'm too sick to run. You put me in the race. I'll win the race. People want to buy me from you. Sell me to the highest bidder. But before you pass me over, take the lead off me. And then when the folk have gone away, shake the lead and I'll return. The old man went, okay, let's do it. So they went down to the dog racing and the boy, he wiggled, wiggled, wiggled. And he turned into a dog. But oh my God, he was a sick dog. Ow! He was dragging his arse on the ground. Ah! I said, oh Jesus, somebody just kill that dog. Ah! But the old man put the dog in the race, and the dog won the race. And folk went, wow! And folk said, can I buy your dog? And the old man said, what do you bid?
100.
100! Oh, Genie Mac, 100,000 there. Anybody be 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, 100,001. 200,000! A million! Another million! Another million! Oh my goodness, you're going to be a million! Million!
2 million.
2 million!
3 million.
3 million! 4 million! Go, 4 million to the moment of the bar there! Excellent, okay. So he's got the dog. She throws the 4 million at him. Brilliant. He throws the dog at her. However, he forgot to take the lead off the dog. And just then, the woman was there, handling the money. She wiggled. Don't need to. But she wiggled. Wiggle. And she suddenly got taller and taller and taller. Her hair got longer and longer. And who was it? The Gruagach. The wicked Gruagach. And he said, ha ha, he said, I told you the day would come when I would get my revenge. Today is that day. I have your son. I'm going to keep him forever. I'm going to put such tortures on him, he was wish he was dead. And with that, he vanished. And the boy vanished too. Oh, I'll take a moment for you to cry and So, is that the end of the story?
No.
Are you sure?
No.
It's the end of my knees, but we're going to do it more. Okay. man had a drink of water. Okay, so now the Gruagach, he goes back to his house. He's got the house, he's got the river, he's got the wee hill with the cave in it. He gets the boy and he ties the boy up. Because he knows if the boy wiggles even a wee bit, each, that came from wee bit. If he wiggles even a wee bit, he can change shape. So he ties him really tight. He puts him in the cave. And in the cave, there's a kind of dreep from the top of the cave there, and it's acid! And the acid drips down and it burns through the boy's skin. Ah! Then it burns through his bones and his skull. Ah! Then it burns into his brains. Ah! And then it all heals up and it starts again, burning and burning. And the poor wee boy is getting tortured. And of course the Gruagach, he's having a great time with this. You know, he's doing his, I don't know, his TikTok thing there. Torturing annoying children. Great stuff. But the thing is, if you're torturing your job, fine, grand. But other folk find it boring. And eventually got a bit bored, so he left the cave. And the boy's still going, He left the cave, went back to his house, and his 11 children were there. He said, lads, let's go out hunting. So they got on their horses to go hunting. But just as they were leaving, there's going to be a lot of information to take in here. Just as they were leaving, he said to his maid, he said, maid, we're all leaving. There's a boy in that cave there being tortured by acid. Don't let him go. And she went, no, I wouldn't. Because if you let him go, I'll come and I'll slit your throat. He's got a lot of social kind of communication skill issues. I'll slit your throat. Don't let him go. He has to stay in the cave. All right, she said. So the Gruagach and his 11 sons, they head off on their horses hunting. The wee maid is in the house now. And she's cleaning the house, and she's washing things and all sorts. She's washing all the dirty socks and dirty underpants and all this, and she's washing them away. And she kind of hangs them out, and she's got a basin of dirty water. So she takes the basin of dirty water, and she's going to throw it in the river. So she leaves the house, and she's about to throw the basin in the water, when the boy who's in the cave, he sees her and he goes, maid, and she looks round. Maid, please let me go. And the maid goes, no, I can't help you. The boy goes, I'm terribly thirsty. Can I at least drink the dirty water? The maid thinks, okay. So she goes up to the water. She puts it down beside the boy. And the boy's lying there and he goes, maid, I cannot drink the water. I'm bound so tight. Could you loosen the knot at my neck just a wee bit? The maid says, of course. So she lets the knot go just a wee bit. And when the knot is loosened a wee bit, suddenly the boy can wiggle. And he wiggles, and he turns into an eel. And the eel leaps up, he jumps into the basin, he splashes about, the water comes out, it makes a wee stream, and the stream goes all the way down the river. The eel swims down the stream and jumps into the river, splash, to escape. But just at that moment, the Gruagach and his 12 sons, the 12 of them, appeared. They saw the eel jumping into the water, and they realised, that eel's the boy! So they changed shape as well, and they changed into otters. And the 12 otters jumped into the water. And the otters were chasing the wee eel, and their wee kind of teeth and their eyes were blazing red. They were swimming through the water, and the poor eel's going as fast as it could. It's swimming, and the otters were getting closer and closer, and they're about to jump on the pair wee eel, and the eel leapt up and turned into a salmon. Turned into a salmon, and the salmon was leaping away, trying to swim as fast as it could, and the otters changed shape as well. They turned into 12 huge sharks. And the salmon's leaping, the poor salmon's, oh my God, what's going on here? The salmon's going as fast as it could. The 12 big sharks are getting closer and closer to the pair wee salmon. And the wee salmon's going as fast as it could. And the sharks get right up to it. And they open up their huge big jaws. And their teeth were this size. And they're about to eat the pair wee salmon. And the wee salmon leapt in there and turned into a sparrow. Oh, tweet, bloody tweet. This time I'm doing it right. Okay, tweet, clap my wings. And and he's trying to fly as fast as he could, and the sharks jumped up in the air, and they turned into hawks. 12 huge hawks, and the huge hawks were chasing after the poor wee sparrow, and the poor wee sparrow was going tweet, tweet, oh Jesus, wet, tweet, 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 and the hawks were coming after her, their sharp bills and their claws and their big wings, and they're chasing after the poor wee sparrow. The wee sparrow's going as fast as it could, and just as they were about to all dive on the sparrow looked down, and he realised he was flown away from the river, and he now was over a park. And in the park was a castle. And the sparrow realised it was a castle belonging to the King of Ireland. Go figure. And there, in the middle of the park, sat a girl. Where's it down with a girl? And he sat with a girl. And so just as the hawks are about to jump on the sparrow, it wiggled. And it changed shape and it turned into a ring. And the ring fell through there. And it landed, boop, in the girl's lap, okay? And the girl looked and she went, oh, wow, how cool, a ring has just fallen in my lap, oh, awesome. And the ring went, excuse me. She went, oh, it talks, oh my goodness, it's the best thing ever. Oh, it's a talking ring, how cool. Wait to tell Becky at school tomorrow, oh my goodness, I am the most coolest princess ever, oh my goodness. And the ring goes, could you please shut up? Goes, wow, how cool. The ring is telling me to shut up, this is so awesome. Meanwhile, the 12 hawks, they're about to dive on the girl. But just as they're diving down, they stop mid-air because they realise the girl is a princess. She's the daughter of the King of Ireland, and there's no way they can attack the daughter of the King of Ireland. So the hawks flew away, and the girl was left with the ring. Is that the end of the story? No. What happens next then? Somebody tell me, what happens next? Oh, it might turn into something. Any other suggestions? Any suggestions?
They could get married.
Oh, they could. You're just so romantic. Scottish folk are very romantic. We'll see. We'll see. Okay.
It's too soon. She's only a wee, she'll let go. He's a boy, so.
Okay, we're getting there. Okay. So she's going, wow, wow, wow. She goes, wow, for a long time. Wow. She's videoing it. Wow. The ring's going, for God's sake. And finally the ring gets to speak and says, listen, princess, this is really important. Those 12 big hawks, they weren't normal hawks. They were Gruagachs, and they've come to get me. She went, no way, I will look after you. You're my ring. I will protect you. I will take you to my chamber in the castle, and I will look after you forever. And then I went, that's great. Thank you very much. So she goes into the house, and she takes the castle. She takes him up to her chamber. She puts him on a wee pillow beside her bed. And just as she does that, remember the 12 Gruagachs? They returned. But now they've changed shape again. They took on the shape of musicians. And they tap the door of the castle. And the king's steward opens the door. It's a big door. And the Gruagachs say, we're passing musicians. We'd like to play a tune for the king. And the steward said, that is fantastic. The king's just got back from fighting the Welsh. So he'd love to have a party and just kind of chill and great, come away in. So the 12 musicians sneak into the house, into the castle, and they start playing music, okay? First of all, they begin playing the fiddles, and folk are dancing and everybody's making merry, and then they play the harps, and it's very sad, people are crying, but it's all amazing music. And as this is going on, the ring up in the princess's chamber says to the princess, do you hear that music? I'm sure that's the Gruagachs. They've come for me. She went, oh my goodness, what can I do? He said, don't panic. I have a plan. It's complicated, so I'm going to explain it very slowly. This is the plan. Go get your maid to get a small barrel there, a wee barrel, and half fill it with seeds, and half fill it with whiskey. She said, okay. She's got the maid came a barrel, half whiskey, half seeds. Then the ring said, now take the barrel, and go down to the hall, get the maid to take it down to the hall, put the barrel beside the fire. Because when it's beside the fire, the seeds will absorb the whiskey. The princess is like, okay, I can do that too. Oh, okay. So she gets the maid, and the maid gets the barrel, half seeds, half whiskey. She goes down the stairs and she puts it beside the fire. Okay. And then the ring says, Princess, this is very important. At some point, your father is going to ask you to come down the stairs and hand me the ring over to the musicians. Have you got that? Are you sure? Excellent. Okay, she's like, fine. And do I hand you over? I went, no. Just throw me in the fire. And the princess went, throw you in the fire. And the ring said, oh, princess, throw me in the fire and you'll see the most amazing sport ever. She goes, okay. So meanwhile, down the stairs, there's all sorts of music going on and folk are cheering, and then they do kind of war music, they get bagpipes out. Let's go invade Norway! They're all ready for fight. And then the kind of musicians bow, and everybody applauds, all applaud. Woo! Thank you. The king says, that was the most amazing music ever. Can I give you something? And the Gruagach says, no, I'm just happy to play music for my king. The king says, can I give you jewels? No. Can I give you land? No. Oh, surely there must be something I can give you. And the Gruagach says, well, there's one thing you can give me. A small thing. You see, my granny had a ring. And she gave it to me on her deathbed. And I was walking through the park. And I dropped the ring. And just as I was about to pick it up, your daughter, the princess, got the ring. And I couldn't say to her, give me my ring back, because she's a princess. So I'm wondering, King, if you really do appreciate my music, could you ask your daughter to come down here and give me my ring back? The king went, of course. So he sent the maid up. She got the girl, bring the ring down. The princess came down. She's got the ring. And her father, the king, says, daughter, it's a new ring. It is. It belongs to that man there. Give it to him. And the Gruagach puts his hands out and he says, give me the ring. The princess takes the ring off her finger and she throws it in the fire. And everybody goes, oh! But when it goes into the fire, it changes. It turned into an ember, a blazing red ember. And then the most amazing thing happened. The 12 musicians, they all wiggled. And they turned into kind of wee clipper things. You know the wee things that lift stones and they lift up the fires there? They turned into them and they jumped in there and they were lifting up all the embers. And they were trying to find one ember. Okay? They were working away there. And the ember jumped into the air, turned into a seed and went into the barrel. The Gruagachs changed shape again. They jumped up and they turned into chickens. And the chickens knocked the barrel over and all the seeds fell out. And the chickens, this is going to get very important now, the chickens began eating the seeds, trying to find the one seed. So they were eating the seeds and going, plop, 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 peck, 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 peck. But the seeds were full of whiskey, okay? So the chickens were going, buck, 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 and they started to get drunk and a bit leery. So they're going, buck, 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 I want the chickens all fell down, and they fell down unconscious, drunk, flat on the ground. At which point, one of the seeds jumped into the air, and turned into a fox. And the fox went round the 12 chickens and went snap, 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 and bit off all their heads and killed them dead. And then the fox wiggled, and changed back into the young boy. And the princess looked at her dad, and she looked at the young boy, and she went, oh wow! That was so cool! Dad, can I keep him, please? Can I keep him, Dad? Please! And the king's looking at his daughter, the princess, and he's looking at the boy there. He goes, who are you? The boy goes, I'm just a humble son of a fisherman. And the king says, well, my daughter wants you. Would you marry her? And the boy kind of looked at the princess. He looked at the dead chickens, kicked them through the heads open. He said, sure, why not? And so the boy and the princess get married, and they all lived happily ever